There's a car in his garage that hasn't moved in 9 years. The tarp over it has gone gray with dust. The tires sit flat against the concrete. A wasp built a nest in the wheel well 2 summers back, and he left it alone. Walk past it, and you'd call it junk. His wife calls it the thing they should have sold a decade ago. His kids call it Dad's project, said with a smile that isn't cruel, but isn't serious either. He doesn't argue with any of them. He just keeps paying the storage and keeps a spare key hanging on a nail by the door. Because what none of them can see from that doorway is simple. That car is the last thing on earth still holding a set of hands that are gone. This isn't a video about cars. It never was. Call him Ray. Ray has a 1971 Chevelle out in the garage, the color of nothing anymore. What was bottle green in 1971 has faded to the gray of an old photograph left in a window. It doesn't run. Hasn't run since the second Bush was president. The door pan has rust you could put a fist through. By every measure a man uses to value a car, does it start? Does it drive? What would it bring at auction? Ray's Chevelle is worth almost nothing, and Ray would not take $50,000 for it. People hear that and assume he's stubborn, sentimental, one of those guys who can't let go of his glory days. They aren't entirely wrong, but they're aimed at the wrong thing. Because Ray isn't keeping a car, Ray is keeping a witness. To understand it, you have to go back to a driveway. Ray is 14. It's a Saturday, and his son is on his back under the same Chevelle, only it isn't faded yet. It's loud and green and alive. There's a coffee can of bolts on the ground, an AM radio playing something low, and the smell of gear oil that Ray will be able to summon for the rest of his life. His father slides out on the creeper, hands him a socket without a word, and nods at the engine. Nobody said this is a lesson. Nobody said this is love. But that's what it was. A man handing his boy a tool and trusting him not to strip the threads. And here's the thing about a car like that. It was there for everything. It was there the morning Ray got his license and his father pretended not to be nervous. It sat in the driveway the night Ray came home too late and too foolish at 17, and his father didn't yell, just looked at him across the hood and said, "We'll talk tomorrow." It carried them to the lake. It idled outside the hospital. It was the one steady object in a house full of moving years. When a man dies, the people who loved him start looking for him in things. A watch, a coat that still carries a smell, and for some men, it's the car, because the car is the only thing left that his hands actually built. You cannot restore a father, but the gearbox he rebuilt with his own 2 hands is still bolted into that frame, and as long as it is, some small part of him is still here, still in the room, still doing the thing he did best. That is what Ray is guarding. Not a Chevelle, a presence. Now it isn't always a father. For some men, there was no one in the driveway at all. For them, the car is the version of themselves they were going to become. They bought it at 23 with money they didn't have. The first thing in their life that was wholly theirs. Not handed down, not expected of them, just wanted. And somewhere in the years since, the job and the mortgage and the long defeat of ordinary days sanded that man down into something quieter than he meant to be. The car in the garage is the only proof left that he was once a man who chased something simply because it was beautiful. 2 different doorways, same room at the end of the hall. One man is keeping a person, the other is keeping a self. Neither one will say so out loud, and both of them get called the same thing by everybody else. A guy who won't let go of an old car. But grief and memory aren't the whole story. There's a second engine running underneath all of it, and it lives in a single word these men all say. Someday. I'm gonna fix it up someday. I'll get to it. When the kids are grown. When work slows down. When there's time. Ask a man why he keeps the car he never drives. And somewhere in his answer is that word. Load-bearing. Holding up far more weight than it looks like it could carry. Because the project was never really the car. The project is proof that he's still the kind of man who finishes what he started. That there's road in front of him and not just behind. As long as that Chevelle sits there waiting, the story isn't over. There's a chapter unwritten, a better version of himself still coming, one with the time and the patience to make the old thing run again. Sell the car, and you aren't selling metal. You're admitting that someday already came and went while you weren't looking. So he keeps it, and he tells everyone he's getting to it. And both things are true, and neither one is the whole truth. Here's where it turns, and here's where it costs him. He cannot say any of this, not out loud, not at the kitchen table when his daughter, who loves him, says it gently. Dad, it's just sitting there. Somebody could be driving it. He doesn't have words like witness or presence or someday ready in his mouth. So he says what men like him always say. He says, I'll get to it. And then he goes quiet. And the quiet gets read as stubbornness, as a man who won't listen, as clutter and waste and a hill he's dying on for no reason anybody can name. The family sees a rusted car eating half the garage. They do not see that he is standing in the one room left on earth where the man who raised him is still somehow present, and they are asking him to clear it out. That is the part the people closest to him almost never understand. What looks like a man being difficult about a hunk of metal is, more often than not, a man carrying something heavy in the only way he was ever taught how. It's grief that never found a language. It's loyalty that ran out of places to go, so it went out to a garage and stayed there. He's not refusing to give up a car. He's refusing to give up a person, and he can't explain the difference, so he stops trying. Watch one of these men long enough, and the contradictions start to stack up. He'll drop $400 on a correct date carburetor for a car that doesn't run, then nurse his own daily driver another winter on bald tires because new ones can wait. The dead man's car gets the good parts. He gets whatever's left over. He swears he's keeping it to finish it. But some buried part of him is in no hurry to finish it all, because the day that engine fires up clean and the car rolls out into the sun, the project is over. The reason to walk out to the garage on a Sunday and spend a slow hour with his father goes quiet for good. A finished car is a closed door, so the work stretches on, and that isn't failure. That's a man making the visit last. And then the deepest one. He can't tell anybody the truth of it, so everyone around him, and sometimes even him, comes to believe it really is about the car. It was never about the car. If you've got something out in the garage, or somewhere in your life, that everyone keeps telling you to give up on and you won't, do one thing for me. Drop the year of the car you'd never sell in the comments below. Just the year. 1969, 1988, whatever it is. And if you think we're reading far too much into a pile of rust, that's fair. Drop a 0 and tell us why. There's a moment that comes for some of these men, if they're fortunate. Call this one Dale. Dale spent 11 years swearing he would restore his father's pickup. 11 years of someday. Then one afternoon, his own son, grown now with a kid of his own, wandered into the garage, ran a hand along the fender, and asked if Grandpa really built that engine himself. And Dale heard himself begin to talk, not about torque specs, about his father, about the kind of man he was, the things he used to say, those long Saturday mornings. He talked for an hour. His son just listened. And Dale understood something he hadn't let himself see in over a decade. He'd been keeping the truck to honor the man, but the truck couldn't carry his father forward. Only Dale could do that. By handing the story across, the way the socket once got handed across, with no words and no need for any. The metal was never the point. The metal was the excuse to keep the door propped open until somebody was finally ready to walk through it. That's the quiet tragedy in some of these garages. A man guards the car so carefully for so long that he forgets the thing inside it was always meant to be passed on, not stored. So, the man behind the man who won't give up his car, no matter what condition. Understand this, and the rest of it makes sense. The condition was never the question. Running or rusted, restored or wrecked, it doesn't matter, because the value he's protecting was never mechanical. You can't read it off a gauge. It won't show up on any inspection, and it has no auction price. And that is exactly why the people who only see metal will never talk him out of it. Walk back out to Ray's garage. Look past the tarp, the flat tires, the wasp nest he won't disturb. Look instead at the nail by the door and the spare key hanging on it. The key to a car that hasn't turned over in 9 years. He doesn't need that key. The car won't start. He will never throw it away. Because a key is a promise that a door still opens. And as long as that key hangs there, the door to a driveway in 1971 is not fully closed. His father is still under the car. The radio is still playing something low. There is still a socket being handed across, hand to hand, no words required. That isn't stubbornness. That isn't a man who can't let go. That's a man who finally understood what he was holding and decided for once in his life not to be talked out of it. We are not building only from the things we manage to achieve. We are building just as much from the few things we refuse to surrender. Most men spend their lives being told that what they carry is too heavy, too old, too much, to set it down already and be reasonable about it. Some things you don't set down, some things you remember, no matter what condition, because keeping them is the last honest way a man has left to say, this mattered, he mattered, and I was here for it. If no one has ever named that for you, let this be the place it gets named.